This is a step-by-step, much requested video on how to make these Christmas bows. So when I first made this bow, this hangs on my mantle. It has a very long tail because it hangs on my mantle. And I made this 2 years ago. A lot of people, actually it was 3 years ago, people wanted me to slow down because it was a short form video. So today we're going to go slower and we're going to do it step by step. First thing I want to mention is where to use the bows. You can use these bows on a wreath, and it's going to depend on the size of the wreath. Now, if you have a small wreath like this one, this can hang on a door, then you want a medium or smaller size type of bow. If you are going larger, you want a larger bow. They can go on as a tree topper. So this bow can be a tree topper. And this one is pretty small. So if you have a 4 to 5 foot tree, then you want the bow to be in the size of the tree. You don't want the bow to overtake the tree or to be too small. As I mentioned, this bow right here sits on my mantle, or has sat on the mantle, on the edge of the mantle, and draped down along with florals, with green florals, evergreens that hang on the mantle. So again, your bow is you're going to determine the size of your bow by what you're using it for. So the things that you're going to need, of course, you're going to need wire ribbon. These two here are 4-inch wide ribbon, and let's see, and this one is 9 feet, they're 9 feet long, which means it's not that much ribbon there, okay? This ribbon here is 1.5 inches wide, and it's 50 yards long. So you have a lot. You can make bows until your heart is content, or you can wrap gifts with it. It's a lot. So you have to know how much is in your container as well. So 9 feet is good for a bow this size. But if you're doing a bow like this and you need a long tail, each of these tails is 36 inches long, which is 3 feet. Which means that for 9-foot roll, I'm only going to be left with 3 feet just to do the bow part itself. Okay, so as I mentioned, the first thing that you need is your wire ribbon, and you want to make sure that it's wire ribbon. See how it folds and it bends, and you can manipulate it because each of the ends has wire. There's wire on each end. Next thing that you need is a piece of floral wire. I like to use floral wire because it's very thin. You can manipulate it and it hides well. You can also use one of these like little wire ties or a zip tie. You can use a zip tie, or you can use a pipe cleaner, whichever you have or whichever you choose. You're also going to need some scissors to cut your ribbon, and then I use wire cutters, or you can use scissors to cut your floral wire. I'm going to first show you all how to do a bow with this 1.5 inch ribbon. Now the great thing about this ribbon is that it is the same pattern on both sides. Not all ribbon is the same. For example, this velvet ribbon is not the same on both sides. So when you go to make a bow, one side is going to be different. The first thing you want to do is determine how long do you want your tail. For a bow like this, I would use this on my door wreath, and I have this tail at 12 inches long. So therefore, you're going to take your ribbon and you're going to say, okay, I want my tail to be 12 inches long. You measure out 12 inches, and this is where you're going to start making your bow. Leave this part out. Now that you've determined how long you want your tail, then you can start with the first section. And you have your 12 inches laid out. You also want to determine how wide you want the bow and how big. How wide, how big. So this one is about, in diameter, about 10 inches. So this is the first section. if I know that I want the diameter to be 10 inches, I need to make this section 5 inches. So we have the 12 inches that we're leaving for the tail, and then we're just literally going to take a piece of it and we're going to form a shape like this. Then we're going to make the same type of section on the other side. So literally you're just fanning it, and now you're going to bring it, now you have section A and section B down here. I'm going to show you from another angle. This is the portion that we have for our tail. We're going to leave that off. And then all we're going to do is we're going to form a loop, and then we're going to bring another piece and we're going to fan a loop here. And you can lay it down if you like. And then you're just going to continue forming those loops. Make them even. Just bring some more of the ribbon down and form that loop. And keep it even. And you literally, all you're doing is fanning the ribbon back and forth. So far, we have 2 sections. You see that? We have 2 sections on each side. Now we're going to make a third. And literally just fanning it back and forth. And you just continue to do that. The more sections you make, the more loops or sections or however you want to call them, the more that you make, the more the fuller your bow will be. The more sections you make, the fuller your bow will be. I typically make between 6 to 10 for a ribbon this size. So you just literally continue fanning the ribbon back and forth. All right, so once you have the desired number of sections, currently I have 7 on each side, 7 of these folds on each side. So now that you have all of the sections that you want, you know that your tail is 12 inches. The first tail that you made is 12 inches long. You can bring over this last piece, just fold it over and make it the same length. Unless you want one longer than the other, that's up to you. But I usually make them even, and so you just cut it at the same length. Now we will need our floral wire or your zip tie or whatever you're using to tie off your ribbon. You can even use another piece of ribbon if you like. I typically like to cut a 12-inch piece depending on what I'm going to use it for. If I'm going to use the bow on a wreath, I like to make the wire very long. So then you're just going to put the wire across the center of the sections. So you're going to find the very center of the sections, and then you're going to place that wire there. Once you have that wire in the center, you can actually just squeeze it tight, taut, very taut, like so, and twist the wire. Until the bow is secure. So this is what your bow should look like. It should almost look like my necktie bow at this point, but you have all of these sections. Now, what I like to do is pull those tails. You have a tail in the front and a tail in the back, and because you have that wire on your ribbon, you can pull it and manipulate it. You see that? So now that we have our sections all completed, we have our tail, all we have to do now is to start opening up the sections. And literally, I put my hand in and I just twist them. And that's all I do. And you just twist and manipulate them however you want until they're all open. Pull some to the front, some to the back. Now I have all of these on one side open. Now I'm going to open the ones on this side. If you happen to have a ribbon that is different color on the inside, all you do is invert it. You would turn it inside out like that, and that's all you would do if it was a different color. But the beauty of this particular ribbon is that it's the same color and same pattern. Show you from a different angle. All you're doing is opening up and twisting so that it stays open. Opening up each section and twist. It doesn't matter which way you twist it, just fill a gap. And because the wire is there, once you get it on your wreath or on the top of your tree or on a present, you can always fluff it. And there you have it. Your bow is complete. And as I said, once you get it placed onto your wreath or your tree, you can refluff it. If you're placing the bow on a wreath, this is where that wire is going to come into play. So all you have to do, let me show you. You can do it one of two ways. You can leave the wire separated into two pieces like this, tie it around the wreath, or you can make the wire into one piece and put it through the branch and then secure it. So it's up to you as to how you want to do it, to secure it to your wreath. The last thing we want to do is to cut the raggedy edges. So you can do one of two ways. You can do just a simple diagonal cut, and make a nice clean diagonal cut, or you can do a fishtail. And to do the fishtail, all I do is I take the ribbon, I fold it in half, and then cut diagonal. And it comes out with a fishtail. Now, if you all want extra tails, you can take an extra piece and just tie it around your wreath like so. Again, using this wire, you're going to stick that through the branches to secure your bow. I hope that this video was helpful, and use these steps. Follow these same steps no matter what size bow you're making. And also follow along as I continue to create more holiday decorations throughout the season.